Startup approved. Departure runway 02 set. Pushback approved at own discretion. Departure runway 0. Pushback approved at own discretion. Departure runway 0. Pushback approved at own discretion. Taxi to holding point runway. Pushback approved at own discretion. Departure runway 02 center. Contact when ready to start.
Request taxi.
Departure runway 0.
Taxi to holding point runway 02 center. Taxi to holding point runway. Departure runway 02 center. Startup approved. Departure runway 0. Departure runway 02. Pushback approved at own contact tower on. Departure runway 02 center. Startup approved. Taxi to holding point runway 02. Departure runway 02 center. Departure runway taxi to holding point run. Startup approved. Pushback approved at own discretion. Taxi to holding point runway 0. Taxi to holding point runway 02 center. Departure runway 02 center. Contact when ready. Pushback approved at own discretion.
Roger.
At parking. Information. Sierra.
Departure runway 02 center. Contact. Pushback approved at own discretion.
Roger. Request taxi.
Taxi to holding point runway 02. Startup approved. Report. Startup approved. Call you back when ready to taxi. Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi.
Startup approved. Call you back when ready to taxi. At parking. Information. Sierra.
Taxi to holding point runway. Departure runway 02 center. Contact when ready to start.
Departure runway 0.
Contact tower on. 1. Pushback approved at own discretion.
Roger.
Request taxi.
Requests.
Taxi to holding point runway.
Roger. Taxi.
Startup approved. Departure runway 0. Departure runway 02 center.
Request.
Pushback approved at own discretion.
Roger.
Pushback approved at own discretion.
At parking. Information. Sierra. Read to copy.
Departure runway 02. Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi.
Startup approved.
Cross runway approved. Taxi to holding point runway 02 center. Startup approved. Report when ready to. Pushback approved at own discretion. Taxi to holding point runway 02 left.
Roger. Taxi to holding point runway 02 left.
Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi. Taxi to holding point runway 0. Startup approved. Report. Pushback left approved.
Startup approved.
Startup approved. Report. Pushback right approved. Pushback approved at own discretion. Taxi to holding point runway. Departure runway 02 center. Contact when ready to start. Contact tower on. 1. Departure runway 02. Startup approved. Report. Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi.